Howdy folks, good afternoon. This is Dr. Jeff Camarda. It is Monday, March 21st, the vernal equinox, where the day and the night are equally balanced in terms of hours. Would it be that it was so for the financial and world situation? It's been a while since I've spoken to you, so I wanted to give you an update on a bunch of important matters. And the first is kind of focusing on the changing world, and boy oh boy is the world changing rapidly these days, and some of the predictions and solutions I offered up in this book, which I wrote about a year and a half ago now. All clients should have a copy, and just kind of reiterate the key predictions and solutions. That record government debt will rise to uncharted levels. We're pushing the level at World War II now, and that's predicted, which is the record like forever, and that's predicted to double even more in a few short decades. That Social Security and Medicare are barreling toward insolvency, which is going to create huge pressure on tax and benefits for the sort of folks who watch these videos, so resulting in massive tax increases on wealth holders. What is clearly, I think, emerging now as the post-COVID, and I think we aren't post-COVID, by the way. It's the disease has kind of changed to where it's more of a, I don't want to say it's not dangerous, but it's not really dangerous like it was before. But certainly the stock market has become quite unstable with the most U.S. markets in correction, and tech stocks, which really is the meat of the market these days, and clearly in bear market territory. The bounce, some would say dead count bounce of the past week notwithstanding, and we could be on the doorstep of an even more devastating market crash. The geopolitical instability and global war risk with China and Russia that I talked about in a book a year and a half ago, and certainly the specter of hyperinflation and stagflation and what that means to your wealth and your family wealth trajectory. And some other stuff I won't get into now. So, the solutions that I kind of prescribed and we are marshaling now are, first of all, having a big picture game plan to make sure all the pieces work efficiently together to survive the storm. Certainly estate planning and having the right trusts for tax control and conservation of family wealth are important. Using asset protection. Because if we see, the sorts of social disruption and maybe a stagflation-driven recession, which I think the risk of that, particularly now, is greatly enhanced, asset protection will become even more important as maybe some folks look to your wealth as a solution to their own poor wealth planning needs. Converting avoidable taxes to family net worth. I'll expand a bit on TaxMaster in a second. And certainly proactive investment strategies to prosper in the storm. And we're very happy with our strategy developed over a couple of years now, just about 2 years since we made the big switch, which I'm very happy to report our belief that they are firmly engaged and working really swimmingly now. And so forth. So the current situation, to put it in a nutshell, I'm sure you've been watching the news, is inflation and rising interest rates are far worse than the Fed predicted for a long time, and I think it still is letting on. I think things are a lot worse than you're hearing out of Washington, and this will be supercharged, and we're just beginning to see the results of this or the impact of this. I'm sure a lot of you folks have noticed gas prices at the pump, at record levels. And again, that's really just the beginning of, of global deglobalization, which has been coming down the pike, since the mid-Trump administration and some of the friction with China, and they really going to be exacerbated by the ramifications of this war in the Ukraine. And I think we're going to see a massive price increase across the board. There was a piece in the Wall Street Journal today that President Biden is putting some pressure on shipping companies, and I didn't really study, how the rationale or the legitimacy of that, but shipping rates are 20 times higher, I think, than they were a year and a half or 2 years ago, and it takes twice as long to deliver the goods. That's huge. Especially given so much of what we want and consume comes from overseas. Very strong specter of world war, dare I say world war and a stagflation and recession. and soaring deficits, and we really haven't seen a lot about this lately. We will later in this decade. Soaring deficits in the Social Security Medicare train wreck, which have to equal inevitable tax hikes, which have to be supported by both sides of the aisle. I mean, you got to make some hard choices, and you got to pay for this stuff. So what is Camarda doing about all of this? You ask. Perhaps you don't need to ask, but first of all, I'd like to hand kudos to Jonathan Camarda and Kimberly Camarda, or tactical wizards, if I can use that term, that have been managing the portfolios. Their deft oversight and management of the portfolios. I'm quite pleased, and I'm confident that you all are quite pleased with the results that these new methods and his team has been able to deliver. Just take a look at your values and statements in order to make that assessment for yourself. But gee whiz, I am just tickled pink, and I look forward to that continuing really in spades in the years and decades to come. Again, all of you have a copy of this book, and we endeavor to apply these solutions to each of you as they match your fact pattern, and feel free to engage and discuss with your personal wealth advisor about some of the opportunities that you think are applicable to you. And let me finish by this, because that was a pretty dark assessment I gave you for most of the video so far. But the changing world, there's that old Chinese expression that change means two things, right? Risk and opportunity. And the changing world offers big risks and challenges and big opportunities for growth and profit if we're able to take advantage of them. And we are very confident, amazingly confident, we have the right team and the right tools to navigate you and perhaps your friends and family, if you'd like to have us try to help save them, because I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, to navigate through and prosper in the storm. So I'm really very excited about the opportunities both for our firm and for you all as our client family, about what we can accomplish together in the months and years to come. And I also want to give a quick plug for TaxMaster, which is really, because of the book, we've gotten a lot of that business, and it is expanding pretty dramatically. We've got some really excellent talent across the board there. And to offer all of you watching, not just clients, but a free tax and estate review. And that really should be an offer you can't refuse. You're going to get some really valuable brain power on a no meter spinning basis to take a look at your situation and suggest ways that you can improve. And if you want to consider using TaxMaster for estate planning, asset protection, or tax prep, it's a good time to do so. We, like most other businesses, the pressure of labor and other costs. So you'll have the opportunity to beat price increases which are coming down the pike, and also our change to an hourly model from the kind of the fixed pricing per tax schedule or whatever that we had in the past. That's going to occur as we move through the spring here. But we're happy to honor any past pricing that we may have given you. But regardless of the TaxMaster fees, we're not cheap, but we believe that we represent an outstanding investment, and I don't use that word lightly, by having smart, expensive people focused on your opportunities can really pay huge dividends. Some of what we accomplish astonishes even me, and I'm not that easy to impress. So again, it's not the price that matters, but the results. Try to focus on the result. Tax savings of from 5 to 10 times our fees are typical. And there's a lady out there, she may be watching, that of course I won't mention her name, but I think we're like waving a wand. We got her a $50,000 refund that would not have otherwise occurred. It was kind of just buried, in this rat hole tax account, and we're able to fish it out for her. It cost a lot of time and money. I think the bill was $7,000, about which she protested profusely. But eventually, gee whiz, I'm still $43,000 ahead. Okay, it was a good thing. So try to look at it as an investment, although it's not, it's not a national investment. It's an investment in knowledge to try to improve your tax situation. So I want to conclude by this actual review, and this is one of our joint Camarda and now TaxMaster clients. That when we first met them, they didn't like the TaxMaster proposal, for the trust, so they found a cheap way to get it done. And they asked for advice on this and that, and we uncovered some deficiencies. Ultimately had our legal team review the trust, which we're having to completely redo now. And this is, I've never seen this harsh an assessment, but this is the legal opinion after reading that trust. And I quote, "This trust is totally screwed up. It indicates that it's a Medicaid planning trust, but it's revocable, which means it's totally ineffective for that purpose. Even as a revocable trust, it's poorly drafted. Directions as to distributions during your lifetime, ability to control after first death, and division of assets at the second death are all subject to different constructions." Hey, which page do I read? What do we do? It's confusion for everybody. Maybe lawsuits too. That's my insertion. I recommend it be completely redone. If they paid any money for this, they should request a refund. End quote. Unfortunately, in this and in tax and so many areas of wealth management, it's so hard for consumers to know the difference. I feel we have just an incredibly precise, laser-focused expert team to discern stuff like this, but you probably won't know. And trying to save a couple of bucks to get something that that seems to be a good deal without any idea of the quality, I think is foolhardy, because you're talking about so many important things here. Your retirement maybe, or you're saving big numbers on taxes, or making sure that your kids get the inheritance that you want. And don't be penny wise and pound foolish in these critical areas. And like I said, to wrap it up, we now have made you an offer you can't refuse. We're happy to review your existing taxes or your state and asset protection documents with the appropriate legal or tax teams at no charge. It's on the house, and worst case is you've got the assurance that they're just in perfect condition, and if not, maybe the opportunity to cost effectively fix them while you still can. Okay, on to the next. Thank you so much, folks, for listening to that extended blather. Once again, where's the mouse I want to turn? Oh, there it is. So until next time, this is Dr. Jeff Camarda saying, enjoy the spring. It's about here. Bye-bye.